India never signed Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, that is NPT. Yet today, India may have more at stake in the survival of the NPT than many of its actual members. Sound paradoxical, right? Let us understand why. The latest 2026 Review Conference of the NPT once again ended without a consensus. This marks the third consecutive failure after 2015 and 2022, revealing that the problem is no longer procedural, but it is structural. While the immediate trigger this time was the breakdown between United States and Iran. But the larger message is that the world's most important nuclear governance framework is steadily weakening. The conference president himself admitted that the absence of a constructive outcome raises concern about the future health of the treaty. And that is precisely where India's interests begin. Although India remains outside the NPT because it considers the treaty discriminatory, New Delhi has always benefited from the stability the NPT has created. The treaty has helped slow down the spread of nuclear weapons, strengthened global norms against testing, and created diplomatic pressure on nuclear powers to pursue arms control. If these norms continue to erode, India will inevitably face a far more uncertain strategic environment. Consider China's rapidly expanding nuclear arsenal. The NPT, particularly Article 6, remains the principal multilateral framework that places disarmament obligations on the 5 recognized nuclear weapon states, including China. If the credibility of the treaty declines, even this limited diplomatic pressure weakens. For India, which already faces simultaneous nuclear challenges from China and Pakistan, this translates into greater strategic uncertainty, higher risk of miscalculation, and increased possibility of escalation. Another worrying development at the 2026 Review Conference was the weakening of global norms against nuclear testing. Reports indicate that the final draft failed to strongly reaffirm these long-standing norms, reflecting a broader erosion of the non-proliferation regime. As these international restraints weaken, countries may increasingly rely on military capabilities rather than diplomatic commitments for security. Ironically, this could also affect India's own strategic calculations. According to the SIPRI yearbook, India modestly expanded its nuclear arsenal in 2025 while continuing to develop new delivery systems. As the external security environment becomes more unpredictable, maintaining voluntary restraint becomes increasingly difficult. However, India's position has always been principled rather than obstructionist. India rejected the NPT because it institutionalized an unequal distribution between the so-called nuclear haves and have-nots. Yet, India has consistently supported universal nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation. Long before the NPT entered into force, India had supported UN resolutions calling for non-proliferation. Even the landmark India-US Civil Nuclear Agreement of 2008 reflected India's commitment to responsible nuclear behavior despite remaining outside the treaty. Interestingly, another issue surfaced during the review conference. Several countries questioned whether NPT members should continue engaging in civil nuclear commerce with non-signatories like India. This demonstrates that as the NPT weakens, debates surrounding India's unique nuclear status may also intensify. Ultimately, the question before New Delhi is no longer whether it should join the NPT. That debate has largely been settled. The real question is how prepared is India to navigate a world where the nuclear order it has long benefited from continues to weaken, even as it remains outside that very regime. Because in nuclear politics, sometimes the greatest risks arise not from the treaties you sign, but from the ones that begin to fall apart.